says anything is possible if a person believes. Now, you got to be careful with a verse like that. A verse like that doesn't mean anything's going to happen if a person believes. I've had people that I've prayed like crazy, they didn't die. And they did. The first two people I visited in a convalescent home, they both asked me to pray that they died. So I prayed something like this. And I'm new at this, And I'm going, God, thank you so much for this person. They lived a long life, and they're very uncomfortable here, and this isn't going very well. And God, if you're through with their life, then take them home. Let them die. If you're done, then if it's like over, and I'm praying, I'm new at this thing, and I'm praying that for them, and then the lady, both of them were ladies, and they thanked me. And I got a call the next morning on both of them that they were gone. So the next time somebody had me go visit their grandmother, I said, "Are you sure you want me to go visit? Because I'm going to pray what they want me to pray." You know what I'm saying? But I had another lady one time that I was praying for, and just the sweetest lady. And I've told this story before years ago, and she was very upset because she could no longer go with her friends out to eat because she had to wear this thing to breathe with and stuff, and it was just sad. And she was staying in this home, and she had a Bible that was this big. I mean, this sucker was, and this lady was 70 pounds, and I went in to see her, and she just blessed me so much, and she had a couple of prayers. One is her family didn't get along. And before she left, she wanted her family to get along. And second of all, she wanted her family to know and understand her faith and for them to see her faith really work in their lives and all that. And so I was praying with her on those things, and I prayed that she could get to where she could breathe again, that she could go with her friends, and I prayed that her family would see, and it just, and I was new at this. And it just wasn't happening. And I get a call one day that she's in the hospital. And I go to see her, and I don't know if she felt any pain or anything, but she was laying in this bed, and her head was back completely like this, and they were breathing for her, and her head was kind of like involuntarily moving, and just, and I almost cried when I walked into the room, just because all of a sudden here was this, her smile wasn't there anymore, and it just didn't seem, and my prayers weren't answered. I'm thinking, God, you made me a pastor, and you've called me to do this. I ought to be able to pray that, you took those other ladies. Why don't you at least take this lady? Why is this lady? And I'm having this argument. I'm standing in the back of the room. All the family's there, and I'm standing in the back of the room arguing with God because I just couldn't understand. And then all of a sudden, remember, God's ways aren't our ways. We don't think like God thinks. Her family's hugging each other. They're talking about mom's faith. They're standing around the bed and praying for their mom. And I'm sitting there like getting this glimpse of prayer answered, even though it wasn't the way I expected. I'm getting this glimpse of prayer answered, and her machine's still going, and it's beep, 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 beeping, and they're praying, and she can't hear any. I don't know if she can hear or not. I don't know if she's sitting up there watching. I don't know all this stuff that's going on, but as I'm sitting there, I'm kind of, and I always try to not, I always try to be invisible. I'm just there if you need me, and I'm sitting there, and the family's hugging and crying, and they're all around, and they're praying for their mom to go. They're praying for their mom to go now, and they're ready for that, and they've made this commitment to each other, and all these good things are happening in this room, and all of a sudden, one of those cleaning people that works at the hospital walks in to like take out the trash and stuff, and kind of walked in and saw this God thing going on, and just kind of stood there and smiled and nodded his head and walked out. And you know what God did with that little guy that came into? God told me that he was answering my prayers.